12 Public Square. We're upstairs. The place is open for lunch and dinner. 7 days a week. Advantage Roofing Contractors, LLC. Donnie Self and Rob Painter. Shop Springs Creamery, Jeffrey and Elizabeth Turner. The Salas Realty Group, 120 Public Square, Lebanon. THW Insurance Services, LLC. 321 West Main Street, Cumberland University Athletics. DT McCall and Sons, Lebanon, Carthage, Lafayette, Franklin, and Cookeville make this show possible with their generous sponsorship. Coaches Night Out, of course, we're live on Blue Devil Broadcasting, and tomorrow morning, Thursday at about 8:30, it goes out on a replay on the Wilson Post Facebook page, and it will be on a lot of Facebook pages tonight after I get home and start sharing it around. Week 10 schedule, Friday, October 25th. Everything's on Friday night. Watertown goes to Macon County. Franklin at Mount Juliet. Lebanon at Hendersonville. Friendship Christian goes to Ezell Harding. Cookeville at Green Hill. Mount Juliet Christian Academy at Columbia Academy. And Warren County at Wilson Central. Chuck Gentry, head coach of the Blue Devils of Lebanon High, with us here on the first segment of our show. And Chuck, your kids, I thought, played awfully well, particularly in the second half of that 24-21 loss to Mount Juliet. I know it hurts. You were right there. You had a 14-0 lead in that football game. Some things happened in the first half that really kept you from getting that thing stretched out a little bit, didn't it?
Yeah, based off of our defensive personnel, we were playing man coverage and kind of matching people, and they hit 2 passes in empty, and you work on it all week and kids can tell you who they are, what numbers, all this stuff, and for whatever reason we don't get matched up, and number 4 goes right down the seam for about 50-something yards, flips the field, gets the momentum going, and then right after that, soon after that, they hit number 88 down the same seam. Different scenario with the coverage wise, but the same still man, and then they fake the jet sweep and hit the tight end right down the middle, and those 3 plays, we should be playing man coverage, and it's like I told Coach Perry, if we're covering you and you make a play, it's okay. Yeah. But to leave you wide open, I know you're 99.9% of the time you're going to make that play, and just frustrating. And again, they went tempo, and one we're celebrating a little bit too much, made a good play and celebrating a little bit. Another one, we've got a stunt called, and the linebackers are talking it out, and the communication wasn't good. One thought one had him, the other one thought the other had him, and so to make a long story short, just things that can happen when you're doing that, and kudos to them for doing it and executing. And I told our kids, you work hard all week and do the things you have to execute what we've got going on, and then 4th and 4 coming out. We had 1 timeout left. We're talking about, now I say I should have took the timeout, but again, they put Osborne in the backfield. When he's in the backfield, he's usually running a flat route one way or the other, and we got Gian over the top looking at him if he goes one way, and Deontay looking if he goes the other way, and play action a little bit, and bad eyes, and first down, completion, first down, miss a tackle, causes fumble.
Right down there, right around the goal line. Yeah,
kick it around, and after that, it kind of deflated us. We're not necessarily built. We can, but not necessarily built to go 90 whatever yards, and didn't get it done. But there were some good spots. We ran the football well, lined up, and that's what we wanted to do, and did that well most of the night. Coming off the injury timeout, talked about taking a shot, and we decided to do that, and the protection broke down, and instead of 2nd and 8, I guess it was 3rd and 10. we ran the football and got about 6 yards. Wish I'd have went ahead since we'd already went for it on 4th down. Be aggressive and let's line up and run this thing for 3 times. But I didn't do that. Hindsight's 20/20. I wish I hadn't called a reverse on 4th down on the first drive also. But it did. It's one of those things. If it works, it works. If it doesn't, it doesn't. And just one of those things where sometimes it's just not meant to be. So.
Well, second half, it looked like your execution was a lot better for the most part, and you kind of got locked in on those guys a little bit.
Well, we were changing personnel, doing several different things, and I got some of the defensive guys that are not used to going in and out a little bit and had to waste a timeout or two in the first half, but felt like we moved the ball efficiently in the first half. And then first drive of the second half had a long one and was good. And then after that, I felt like that Mount Juliet did a better job, or we did a worse job of salting the game away. And again, some of shoulda, coulda, woulda, but it's one of those things that you've got to, when you got momentum, you can't let it flip. You can't let them, when you got them on the ropes and it's 14-0, if we get to stop there and at that time, they hadn't had a halftime or anything.
Yeah.
And then, but we got the ball back there and then needed to salt it away so we don't give them the ball back. And then the phantom free kick and stuff that, I don't know if you remember this or not, but Cookeville, my very first game at Lebanon in the Jamboree, did that to us at the end of the game and missed it, and we tied 7-7.
I'm trying to remember that. And the way that this worked out, Lebanon punted right before the end of the half. Lebanon Mount Juliet took a fair catch, made the catch, and the Lebanon cover guy did not see the fair catch signal, ran into the return man. So fair catch plus a 15-yard penalty. Well, after a fair catch, a team can attempt a free kick, just like you see on a safety, line that thing up and kick it, and if it goes through the uprights, it's 3 points. And Echeverria hit it pretty good, just pulled it. I couldn't ever remember it. You said it happened in that Cookeville Jamboree. I'll take your word for it. I was saying that's the first one I've seen in a high school game.
Well, that was the first one that I had ever saw.
Yeah.
And Jimmy Maynard thought he was just slick because he pulled it on me. And then from that was this other one. And at the time, I never thought about them being close enough to try a free kick. But when you think about how big his leg is, and as soon as we punted, he just waved one.
Yeah.
So Anthony's blocking and then starts to cover, and he's already done that. He never saw it, and so you can't fault him for playing hard and doing, and just like I told our guys, sometimes things just it tells you that not meant to be, and so
your kids were dejected after the football game, coaching staff dejected after the football game. That shows that you guys poured a lot into that week of preparation. How have they bounced back this week in practice, getting ready for a non-region game, but a very good football team in Hendersonville?
Well, we still talked about some of our goals that we wanted to do are still in front of us. You got to go to Hendersonville, a place where when we played Hendersonville at home, we've won. When we played them on the road, we've lost. And so I told them, you can be a first for us to go to Hendersonville and win. Also, they're the number 10 ranked team in 5A. So you got another good football team, another challenge. And if you are, if you got a pulse and are a competitor, you get another chance to get back up off the mat and fight. And again, they're kids. Monday we had a conversation before we started the day. Obviously, when they come in, the feeling's still there, and we kind of talked about it, let it go, and been on to Hendersonville. Had a good practice Monday, not so great on Tuesday, pretty good one today, and so we'll finish up Thursday and hopefully be ready to play Friday. And different because it's wing T. We haven't seen it this year the way that they do it. It's a little different than Warren County's, and so a lot of different stuff. It's got some triple option in it, and so a lot of different things that you've got to prepare for. So it's going to cause our defensive squad to be disciplined and stuff, and things that we've done but not done consistently all year. So hopefully that's like I said, it's a good opportunity to show that we've gotten better.
When you talk about Hendersonville's wing T, if I remember right, they use a lot of receivers, bunch sets tight, and they'll flip those guys to try to get you out of position formation-wise. Still, it's a lot of the base wing T stuff inside, and when you say option, then it's really becomes responsibility football.
Yeah, it's kind of wing T side, spread side, wing T side, and then sometimes it's all the formations and motions and shifts and stuff. So it just, like I say, a lot of discipline, a lot of eye discipline, and things that we've had problems with. So hopefully we can line up and play sound fundamental football and do. Again, if you ask me today, they can tell you what to do, when to do, how to do, but going out there on Friday night and doing it when the juices are flowing, the emotions are going, and coaches aren't on the field with them and things like that, it's a little different. And then I'm sure Hendersonville gets paid too. They'll throw a little wrinkle or two in there, and then we've got to adjust. And can we adjust on the fly and those things? But that's what makes the game great. It's just line up and go play, see what happens.
The awareness of 15, 16, 17-year-old kids and taking what they've been taught during the week in practice and converting that to Friday night when the lights are on and the bands are playing and you got the nice uniforms on. Sometimes that's a tough deal, isn't it?
Well, yeah, it depends on which way the wind's blowing and who the kid is and what happens. And again, it just you never know. I mean, if you knew the answers, either one of us did, we'd be rich, and we could sell it and market it really well. But it just it's just those things you never know, and the things that they do it 95% of the time, but it's that 5% that drives you crazy. Or they can sit here and think, all right, I'm supposed to block down, coach. Then you run the play and they don't block down, and I'm like, you just told me you're supposed to block down, and they go, yes sir. And so just those things, and again, it's what makes it interesting at times and drives you crazy. Lay in bed at night thinking why, but just again, and I told our kids Friday night, I'll go to war with them anytime. We felt like they came out there and laid it all on the line for us, and didn't end up the way that we want to, but you got to dust yourself off and get ready to play the next one, and hopefully we can be able to do that and be a little better on Friday night.
Defensively, from my recollection, Hendersonville had been a 50 front. Are they still doing that sort of thing on defense?
50 man coverage with some 4-2-5 stuff involved. And again, I hadn't been lining up with several tight ends and condensed sets and everything else. We've been spread most of the time, and so we'll see what they. But at this point of the season, not many people can throw something at us that we hadn't already seen. So it should be, very, very similar.
Your heavy packages against Mount Juliet really got some bodies out in front of Edwards and Azita to run the football. You ran the football very effectively, and that's really how this football team has kind of turned into let's run that thing and run the clock a little bit.
Yeah, well, our deal was let's get them where we can block them and not have to decide should we throw it out there, not throw it out there. When we tried to do that stuff, we didn't do it well. When we're all bunched in there and let's zone block and give our running backs the ball, or let's times we use deuce as a decoy and different things, but it became let's get a body on the body and let them run, and we were for the most part successful at that. We just keep doing it.
You mentioned that despite that loss to Mount Juliet, what you want to do with this football team is still in front of you, because This game's a non-region game with Hendersonville the next week, the Thursday night game at home against Gallatin. It has boiled down to basically what you had last year at Gallatin. The winner of that football game looks like they're going to be able to advance and go to the playoffs.
Yeah, it looks like it'll be for fourth place, barring crazy stuff happening here. But when you look at it, it becomes basically a playoff game. Week 11, and somebody's going to go on and somebody's going to go home. But again, the goal is to make the playoffs. If you're not in, you don't have a chance, and if you're in, you got a chance. And I do believe we're getting better and playing our better football here towards the end. So hopefully, these next two that we can get under our belt and have a little momentum going into the postseason.
Scheduling for next year, you and I have talked about this a couple of times. You're still not to that point, are you? Because they haven't set the regions for the TSSAA. I know earlier this week they had the appeal process for teams that wanted to move, to do some different things. For those of you who follow football statewide, Alcoa's won about 9 in a row state championships in Class 3A. They decided they're going to move up and go to 4A. None of that impacts this area because our 6A schools are who they are. But again, you can't schedule until you know who's in your region.
Yeah, and we now know the teams that are going to be in 6A, minus a team or two that might go independent and not compete for playoffs. But then you look at East and West and trying to divide it and go. And so, all of us coaches try to be TSSAA employees, and hey, we should do it this way, you should do it that way, or you should do it this way. And I could list the amount of teams on the table here that we might be in a region with. And if you go back to the 80s, we're Murfreesboro region, and then if you go now to the basketball region, or if you go now the current region, or you go back the past two, the old region, all of those are into play depending on how you do it. And then at times we've been in, I think we've played some Nashville Metro schools in Region 2 and also maybe some Williamson County schools. So it could be all over the place. It depends on who you ask. I'm sure that there'd be a lot of coaches that volunteered to go down and help them and tell them which way they'd want to go and all this stuff. But, they'll tell us who we're in the region with. They'll tell us when we play them, and then it's our job to schedule. It's the worst thing about coaching football to me is finding those dates, finding those people that want to play, don't want to play, can play, all that stuff. It's a headache because it opens and everybody's a free-for-all, and then you've got people already, calling and talking, and I'm playing, no, I won't play, I'll call you back, I'll let you know.
But you've got feelers out right now.
Yeah, you're playing all year, and everybody's wanting to know what everybody's doing and when, where, why, and stuff. And let's just look at our county. If we're all in the same region, well, we don't have to schedule each other. But if they split us, which is talk, then all right. If us and Wilson Central are together, well, I still want to play Mount Juliet, Green Hill, and they probably still want to play us. But do the weeks work out right? And then you look at. Since I've been here, Zach Martin said, schedule Gallatin. Yes, sir. So, if we're in a region with them, then it's already scheduled. If we're not, then I can either try to schedule Gallatin because my boss says schedule Gallatin. So, and it's, you've been doing this at Lebanon High School a lot longer than I have, but, you play Mount Juliet, you play Gallatin. Now you play Green Hill, or you play Wilson Central, in region, out of region. So, all those things. And then, what's next? What's best? What's travel look like? What is your open date? What is it? Is it on fall break? Can it be on fall break? All those things that come into it. And this right here is turning gray quicker than it needs to, and this right here is getting thinner. And that scheduling the games is definitely not easy, especially when you're sitting there. You got one phone, and last time we did this, I was sitting at Summit Hospital in the break room with Mama sick and calling Coach Angel and say, hey, you do this, do this, do this, do this, and I'm doing this and this and this, and I think I ended up with 57 phone calls before I got the schedule made.
Yikes.
And that was in one morning. Text messages, emails going all at the same time. Rat race. We'll probably sit down at school and try to get it done this time with several more phones but it's just not. It's not easy, and if you don't know, coming into it, I sent out several text messages one day, and I got back radio silence and 3 no's. And since then, I've made a little headway of some possible, but some of those will be able to do, some of them won't be able to do, some of them will. Region dates won't match up and everything, so it's like I say, it's a puzzle that's not easy to put together.
Shop Springs Creamery, 2816 Sparta Pikes, the official chocolate milk of Lebanon Blue Devil football. Their corn maze is now open if you need somewhere to take the kids and then load them up on sugar before you put them out into the corn maze. There at Shop Springs Creamery, you can do that. This week's team meals are sponsored by on Thursday, Emmanuel Baptist Church, Lebanon. One of the Sunday school classes is taking care of that. And then on Friday, Living Water Ministries out of Gordonsville, providing the meal on Friday. A couple of good meals planned for the kids. Chuck, finish up the week strong, and Joe will talk to you on Friday after the game. Thanks for the visit as always.
Thank you, Donnie.
Chuck Gentry, head coach of the Blue Devils, with us here on the first segment of Coach's Night Out. We're live from Cedar City Brewing Company. We'll be back with more after these words. Hey, thanks for staying with us. We're on our second segment of Coach's Night Out, live from Cedar City Brewing Company, 112 Public Square. Our sponsors, DT McCall & Sons, Cumberland University Athletics, THW Insurance Services, LLC, the Salas Realty Group, Shop Springs Creamery, and Advantage Roofing Contractors, LLC. Cumberland head coach Tim Mathis with me on the show. Cumberland 5-2, 1-1, 1-2 in the Mid-South Conference. Will be on the road Friday as they go to Williamson, Kentucky to play the University of the Cumberlands. It'll be a 5 o'clock local time kickoff, 6 o'clock Eastern. Tim, your kids are coming off a 14-9 loss to Georgetown last week at home, but and we had this text exchange. You said there's no such thing as a good loss or a moral victory in a loss, but you guys got ranked in the top 25 coming off of that loss.
Yeah, it's kind of how. Of course, I'm one of the Raiders now, but really going into making the playoffs and stuff, NAIA kind of changed, and they have ARC ratings too, which are regional ratings. So there's 4 regions in the United States, and so we're in the 4 ARC. It's us, Appalachian Conference, Sun Conference.
Okay.
And we're ranked 5th in our region. So, the voters around the country look at the ARCs because you can't watch everybody. So they're looking at who's
good in a particular
who's
region.
good in each region. So, that's kind of what they looked at. And so they took that into account and ranked us high. And there were guys like in our ARC that said, we watched the game. Y'all had every opportunity to win the game. And we did. They made more plays than we did. You lose by 5, miss a field goal, miss extra point, fumbled on the 30 going in. We had our chances. And a chance driving at the end of the game if we just do what we need to do. But they just, they made more plays. They made their plays when they needed to, and we just didn't quite. But we were in a game. Last year we get beat by them 42-14, and we're a better football team, and we had our chances. It's just when you're playing a good team, you got to take advantage of your opportunities, and they did, and we did.
And they really concentrated on trying to slow down the run game.
Well, they weren't going to let us run, and and even they definitely want none of our read run plays were going. They weren't going to let Luke run the ball. They were not going to let him do it.
So they had somebody on the
quarterback all the time, and so and they did stop our run per se, but we were doing a lot of RPO stuff, so the passes were there, and that's why we threw the ball more, because that's what the read told us to do, was throw the ball. So in a way they did. They stopped our run. They were bringing people that they weren't going to let us do what we did to Bethel. They just weren't going to let us do that, and we threw the ball pretty well.
But that's not really.
That's not who we are. It's not who we are, but in our offense, that is who we are. If that's what they're going to get, if that's what they're going to give us, and in that too, we missed 3 or 4 reads that could have really ended up being points too. That again, we just gotta, as coaches, we got to do a better job of making sure they're reading, doing the right reads and stuff. And we were close, but close is on a good, and horseshoes, hand grenades, and nuclear war. So you got to. We got to do better.
You said going into this football game that you felt like Georgetown would be the best team you have played this season. Do you still feel that way after the week?
I do. I think they're the most all-around team we've played today. We hadn't seen the other ones, but they were definitely better offensively, defensively, special teams than Bethel. And that's not taking any – Bethel is a good football team. But I think they were just more balanced all around than anybody we've faced yet.
They were 16 in the NAIA coming into that game, and that 14-9 win over you bumped them to 14, which shows the Raiders felt like that was a really good win for Georgetown over your football team.
It is. They finally, and for the longest time in the ratings, when we were 3-0, 4-0, whatever, they weren't giving us any credit for it. But when the ARCs started coming out is when they started giving us credit, and because everybody else in our region from the other, they see us more. Like everybody in Appalachian has seen us play because they played a lot of the teams in our conference early on, so they're watching the films
Yeah.
and all that. And I was real shocked that several of the guys, when we had our art meeting, watched our Georgetown Cumberland game. So they watched the game, so they saw, how the game played out. So, I do think they gave both of us credit for it. And then, you'll find out Georgetown plays Bethel this week, so you're going to find out, how that all pans out there. But, we don't have any time to lick our wounds or anything, because Cumberland's is, it's a Mid-South football game. They're not a bad football team.
What are you going to see, you feel like, defensively from Cumberland's when you go to Williamsburg on Saturday?
Exactly what they did last year, and how you know that is Coach Housekeeper, this their head coach, was the Georgetown defensive coordinator for years, and they're running the exact same defense he ran there. He brought it to Cumberland's, and they're doing the exact same thing. So you kind of know. And it's not no, and it's going to be easy. It's no, because he does what he does. So you're not going to get a lot of variation. So I mean, it's a 3-4 defense, and it's a true 3-4 defense. And they actually try to get some extra guys in the box. They'll play a lot of cover 1 and cover 0 too. So they're going to try to bring down their safeties at times and rely on guys just to cover on the back end. But it's not a real press man. It's an off man type thing. So, we have chances to take advantage of that.
You feel like people will look at that Georgetown, at that Georgetown film and say, well, here's a formula for slowing Cumberland down. You feel like you're going to see more of that. So you got to figure out what you're going to do.
It's just you are, but you just got to execute. And there were some, they were really good up front, but we missed some cuts on runs and stuff when we had the opportunity, and missed some blocks up front. I thought after watching the film, like after the game against Georgetown, I thought it was, we played absolutely horrendous up front. It wasn't as bad. It usually never is. Usually never as good or never as bad when you watch.
Because you got the worst seat in the house down there on the sideline.
But, we could have played a heck of a lot better up front, and it probably would have went a little different. So, we got a week to work on that too. That we know that they're going to bring extra people up and all that. But, those other teams too are not the senior-laden Georgetown team. I mean, they're a really good football team on defense, and so you don't have those cats either. So
offensively, what are you going to see from the University of Cumberland?
They changed a little bit. Like last year, they were a run-heavy team. I mean, they 2 tight ends, maybe 3 tight ends sometimes. They're trying to really throw the ball a little more this year than they did last year. So they're kind of developing in that, of transitioning from running to throwing. So they throw it a little more, and they've just been, and you got to prepare that they're going to be consistent. They've been a little inconsistent whether they run or throw or whatever, but they're going to try to. It looks like they're going to try to throw it around a little more this year and be a little more open, because they were getting 2 and 3 tight end sets last year and just kind of crowd the box and try to just manhandle you, but they don't necessarily do that this year.
One of my photographers was shooting the game, and she got a great shot of Tim Friel making a catch. He's kind of airborne and up in the air and making that grab, and he went down and he's hurt his shoulder, right?
Yeah, he broke his collarbone.
Golly.
He held on to the ball though, but he broke his collarbone, and
he has developed into a guy that you could really count on catching the football.
He's a speed guy and all that, and we kind of joked with him that you wouldn't have broke. It's kind of crazy. He ran the wrong route, and so we're like, if you wouldn't have ran that route wrong, you wouldn't have broke your collarbone. Kind of try to make light of it or whatever, but it's a heck of a grab, heck of a catch, and to fall on that and to break your collarbone like that and hold on to the ball speaks a lot of him. But he'll be somebody who will miss a little bit because he's a deep threat. He could really take the back end off of it and run. But he did make a clutch catch there.
Well, another Middle Tennessee kid from White House Heritage,
Right.
and you've tried your best to get more Middle Tennessee kids on that roster.
Absolutely. I mean, I think we're a good football team if we can just own our backyard.
Recruits at that Georgetown game, they got to see a heck of a football
Yeah,
game.
they did, and we had a lot of positive, feedback from those guys about the game and about our program and about what they saw. So, it was a good day in the recruiting area as well.
The numbers in the run game weren't there because of the things Georgetown did to you defensively. Does your offensive line and that running back room, do they kind of look at those and say, hey, we got to get this fixed?
Yeah. I mean, I'm looking forward to this game this week because I want to see how they respond to it, because we have challenged them with it, and you challenge too, like, hadn't really even talked about Georgetown got all their points in the first half. Our defense shut them out, absolutely just shut them down in the second half, and you want to make sure they continue that over because they played lights out in the game the second half, and really gave us a chance to be in the game and win the game because they didn't do anything in the second half, and Georgetown wasn't used to that either, and that was a big. That's another big area that you look at. It's like, wow, their defense must be pretty good to be able to just completely shut them down, and we did. I mean, we did.
Well, and again, that margin of error is so razor thin. A couple of different plays down the stretch, if they go your way, you're right there.
Yeah.
5-point football game.
Right. I mean, you go back to Tim Frill's heck of a catch is. We made the wrong read. There was a guy going right down the middle of the field. There was nobody on him, and it was a touchdown. You can't harp on it because we made the catch and all that, but it was the wrong read. And we hit that. It's a touchdown because we end up taking a field goal there instead of the touchdown. So there were points there. We just have to do a better job, and we're right there on the cusp of doing what we need, and we're in the driver's seat for us to make the playoffs. We just got to win out. It's that simple. That's the formula. We have to win our next 3 games, and because we're at 25 now, we're probably only going to go up. So, we're in a great position to make the playoffs.
Is that pretty much the telltale, Tim? Is if you can stay ranked, you're going to be able to find a spot in the playoffs?
Yeah, because if we, the way it probably shakes out, if we win out too, is we're probably number 2 in the conference. Our top 2 teams from our conference are definitely getting in. Has every year since I've been in this conference, and I'm going back to 2005, since when we started it shorter, that Mid-South has always had at least 2 teams in the playoffs. So, you feel good about that, and there are times where they've had 3 teams in the playoffs, and probably should have last year. Lindsay just got. They were the last team out last year. Probably should have been in it, but there was an upset where a 5-5 team ended up winning their conference, so it kicked Lindsay out.
So a conference championship is going to get you in.
Bid. You get the automatic, and now it went from 16 to 20 teams, so you got 4 extra at-large bids, and it's helped some teams get in the last couple of years that they've done that. So, our thing is we've got to put our head down and work because we're in a position that I don't know. Cumberland hadn't been in, I guess, since I think '93 they made the playoffs. I think, but that's a huge deal.
Well, and the opportunity is there. You got to take advantage of it.
You got to. We're given this opportunity. It's what are we going to do about it? And then we're looking forward to our response this weekend.
How has this bunch been in practice this week, coming off a loss where they look at the film and they see, hey, we had opportunities. Let's move this thing forward.
Yeah, I've been saying it all year. This is a different football team this year. They're hungry. They're wanting to come to practice and eat and better every day, and there's that kind of determination of we want to get back on the field, and last week wasn't who we were. We want to show you who we are, what we're about, and so they're just kind of knocking at that opportunity.
And we talk about this quite a bit, the recruiting aspect of it. A lot of the schools in this Mid-South Conference go after the same kind of kid, don't they? I mean, it's kind of dog-eat-dog out there going after some of these
It really
players.
is, because most every one of them come down here to recruit. They're recruiting Middle Tennessee just because we're all from Tennessee, Kentucky mostly.
Yeah.
Faulkner really doesn't come up here. They're in South Alabama and through there. So, but everybody else, the best football around here is Middle Tennessee. So you do fight for the same kids, and the more you win, the easier it is to get those kids as well.
Hey, have a good rest of the week of practice. Road trip, 5 o'clock kickoff Central, 6 o'clock Eastern time. I guess you'll eat lunch and get on the road. Is that how you'll do that?
Yeah, we'll probably leave around 11:30 to get up there, to give us an hour to walk around and get tape and stuff before we start our pregame and stuff. So we'll let them go eat in the calf and then get on the bus, and we have a bunch of snacks and stuff they can have when they get there to make sure they're not empty in fuel by the time we play.
And post game, you need to feed them too on the way home, right? Now that's sometimes a free for all.
That's don't put any fingers or anything in the way that you might not want that doesn't come back, because it starts chomping.
Tim, finish up the week strong and have a good game on Saturday at University of the Cumberland.
Thank you. Go Phoenix.
Tim Mathis, head coach at Cumberland University, with us on the second segment. Stay tuned for more right here on Coach's Night Out, live from the Cedar City Brewery.
tell them every week.
Hey, welcome back to our third and final segment of Coach's Night Out, live from Cedar City Brewing Company. Open for lunch and dinner 7 days a week. We are in their upstairs private room, and if you want to rent this room for an event, talk to Cody Lanham at Cedar City Brewing Company. This room is pretty neat. It's a little isolated where you can be away from everything else that's going on. Advantage Roofing Contractors, LLC, Shop Springs Creamery, the Salas Realty Group, THW Insurance Services, LLC, Cumberland University Athletics, DT McCall and Sons are our sponsors. Let me run through the schedule for the week 10 of high school football in Wilson County. Warren County at Wilson Central in a region game. Mount Juliet Christian at Columbia Academy, that's a region game. Cookville at Green Hill, regional. Friendship at Eazell Harding, regional. Lebanon at Hendersonville, non-region. Franklin at Mount Juliet, non-region. Watertown at Macon County, non-region. Head coach Gavin Webster, head coach at Watertown High with me, and it's the Halloween time of year. There's vampires everywhere. You would have to drive a stake in the heart of these purple tigers to kill them. They came roaring back. What a dramatic win for you guys, 45-44 at Grundy County in a game you had to win, and you win it in the last 20 seconds of the football game.
Yeah, it was a great win for our kids, and that's why I told them, although, they've been kind of the cardiac kids all year long, we've kept fighting and clawing our way back. All those didn't equate to wins, but we've never been out of a game all year long.
Yeah.
And for them to do what they did Friday night, kept fighting, and we had a lot of bad things to happen. We kept fighting adversity, and to get to win, I think it was 18.2 seconds when we scored that last touchdown, and then kicked extra point to go up 45-44.
And your kicker was perfect on the night.
He was perfect. He even hit a field goal earlier on.
So you got the snap, you got the spot, you got the kick. There's a lot that goes into that, and it doesn't go that way every night in high school football.
No, it does not.
And you needed every one of those.
We needed all the points we could get.
It was a long scoring drive there, Gavin, to get you in position, right?
89. We intercepted about 89 or 90 yards. We went 89 or 90
What
yards.
were they doing throwing the ball with a lead?
Well, your guess is as good as mine.
Because
I was scratching my head too, but I was like, okay. It was third and long or somewhere in that neighborhood. There's a lot going on. And they threw it, and we got the pick, and we took it down, and wound up scoring off of it.
You came up with 4 turnovers in that game. It was three? I'm trying to remember, 3 interceptions and a fumble recovery.
Yeah. It was a big night. We had several turnovers too. We had 2 special teams turnovers in the first half. We had 2 fumbles. We may have had 5 overall all night long, and
But
I know we at least had 2 special teams and 2 offensively. But kids kept fighting. And it just, I don't know what else to say. Just that they're fighters and they don't quit.
That has been the personality of your football team. You've had, even in some losses, you've clawed your way back in them at the tail end of the game and made some plays to give yourself a shot. They've developed kind of this mentality, haven't they?
And that's what you want. You want that. That's a football mentality. You don't want to see a team that has a bunch of bad things happen or get behind and then just kind of lay down. You don't want that. And we talk about fighting all the time and keep just keep fighting, keep believing, and good things will happen. And the other night proved it. We had to convert a 4th and 3 there
on that scoring drive.
On that scoring drive, we had to convert a 4th and 3, and we rolled Blake out, and it was kind of a sprint out play, and we was like, listen, if it ain't there, tuck it and run. We're gonna have 3 yards, and we got 3 yards. We got it. And then our next 3 plays were incompletions, and it was 4th down, and we completed one in the end zone.
Talk, if you will, a little bit about the growth of Blake Waldorf, where he has come from. He took over as quarterback midway through the season as a freshman. Mm-hmm. He's been your guy ever since. And in that monsoon game against Lebanon, he's out there, and I know his hands must have been like bricks. They were so cold.
Yeah.
The fact that he still wanted the football in his hands, and that he's been the guy that's kind of led you on these marches.
He is. I will say this about Blake. He's still young. Sophomore, still got a lot to learn, and, the sky's the roof with him. But he is a competitor and a fighter, and, he wants to win, and sometimes his emotion gets the best of him, but it's just, he wants to win, and he wants to be out there, and I give him it. He went out banged up the other night. There's somewhere in the third quarter, I can't remember where it was in the third quarter, and went out, and we didn't know we was going to get him back. And the backup quarterback went in for 3 or 4 plays, maybe a few more than that. I can't exactly remember, but he comes back in this ball game and like, we're gonna win it, So that's his mentality, and he's grown a lot, and I'm proud for him. He's just the way he's come along, and we've had to run him more. And that's opened up our offense a lot more with him being able to run, because when you're sitting back there, we're a lot of 10 personnel, a little bit of 20, but we're more 10 than anything. And if you don't have a quarterback that can run it a little bit, teams can tee off on you a whole lot more versus being able to, hey, we got to be able to stop 2 guys now. And he's one of our best runners, maybe our best runner.
And you've had several runners get hurt through the course of the year. You've had to move people around and get them in the backfield.
Yeah, we got people in the backfield that are receivers that are not even running back. So that's how far down the line we've went. And all these kids, they keep fighting, and it's good to see that. And I'm proud to coach them.
Players are drawn to leaders in the locker room, leaders in the huddle, and that's what Blake has done. And it's kind of, those kids will follow him, won't they?
Oh, they will. They will. When and like I said, he's grown, and we got playmakers out there, and he's able to get them the football, and we try to spread the ball around a lot, and we just don't have 1 or 2 guys. It's like, Ethan Owens, who caught the winning touchdown pass the other night, he's, his stats aren't great, but he's going to have 4 or 5 big catches a game, and he's like, if you throw him the ball, he's going to catch it. Ethan struggled the other night. He did wind up with 4 or 5 catches, but on that last drive, I think he drops, after we get that first down, he drops 2. Wow. That this kid don't normally do. For Blake to go back to him on 4th, it was it.
4th and ball game.
It's 4th and ball game. And Blake goes right back to him, and the kid pulls it down.
A diving catch, from what I understand.
Diving catch, catches in on scores. Ethan he's a senior, and it means so much to his football team. Just, he's one of these guys that you don't hear nothing out of. He'll do whatever, and you feel bad for him when he has a bad night, but then when he steps up and makes those plays, like, it's just great. It's a great feeling.
That had to make that bus ride back from Grundy County a lot better, didn't it?
Yes, that's a long haul.
And your region is kind of far flung. There's some places you got to go to that I've never been to. Sequatchie County last year, the road trip, and Grundy this year, because of the lack of seniors. Yeah. You started out with 6. I think you had a couple that got hurt. You got a lot of young guys playing. what this means for the next couple of years for Watertown football. You got some guys who have been through the wars for you, and it's, down the road, it's really going to help you.
Yeah, it does. Our sophomore class is very good bunch of sophomores. We got a good junior class mixed in with them. And that's been the brunt of our football team is sophomores and juniors. Our seniors are, like I said, right now we got 4 seniors that play. 2 of them play both sides of the ball. The other 2 are, they play a little bit on both sides.
Yeah.
But, we got 4 seniors, so the rest of them are juniors and sophomores playing. So, providing, everybody keeps working and we keep everybody together and, the next few years look good,
And a football coach has to have some patience, and you have to be able to look down the road a little bit. I know every week it's a fight. Yeah, hey, but to be able to look down the road a little bit and say, hey, we're building towards something special.
Oh yeah, and we know that. Like I said, this. Generally, and unfortunately, we hadn't been able to play a lot of JV games this year because we've had kids get injured, and then, most of the time your JV games are freshmen, the way we do it, freshmen and sophomores, and the brunt of the sophomores are playing
Out there on Friday night, yeah.
And then we get down, and our numbers are low right now just because we've had several injuries, and it's just. It's been a trying year, but just to know that these kids, keep fighting on Friday night and keep coming back and have not gave up yet. They could have folded 10 a long time ago, and they didn't. So that speaks a lot for their mentality and what kind of person they are.
It sounds like this is a good bunch to be around Monday through Friday, all the time that you're with them.
Well, they are. So they'll try you patience some. They're still sophomores and juniors, especially the sophomores. They'll try you patience some, but overall, they're a good bunch of kids to be around. They are.
You got Macon County on the schedule. You go to Lafayette on Friday. A really good football team. Help me, I've gone blank. They're 4A, right?
They're 4A.
4A. What do you think you'll see out of Macon County's defense? Because based on what you want to do on offense, what do you think you're going to see from those guys?
They're going to try to put pressure on us. They're primarily they've showed about 2 or 3 fronts. Anywhere from odd, even, and I figure they're going to put pressure. We'll be without Blake Friday night. So he's not playing Friday night.
Well, this game, in the grand scheme of things, doesn't really mean a whole lot. It's the next week against Community.
Right.
That's the one.
We got to have a Community game.
You win that game, you're going to playoffs.
Yeah, if we lose Community, we're out.
Yeah.
Yeah, because we've got to win that one. So the grand scheme, my goal this week, you always win them all. But when you do a reality check, my thing is, okay, we want to go there. We want to play well and let the chips fall where they fall and come out healthy and be ready for Community in the playoffs. Because that's what you got left. If we don't beat Community, we're going to be sitting at home. So we have to beat Community next week. So, grand scheme of things, you're right. It don't mean a whole lot, but you don't want to go up there and just, walk off the bus. And you want to get up there, hey, and that's what we've talked about this week. We want to go, we want to take a fight to them. We're not going to go up there and lay down. We got to play. They're on the schedule. You got to play them. We know they're a good football team, and Coach Shoulders has done a great job, and they got some good athletes. But we got to go play it. We're going to go play it, and let's see where we wind up.
Last time you were with us on the show, you were getting ready to play Lebanon, and you said Watertown's going to do what Watertown does. Mm-hmm. And you guys have a system that you believe in, and you try your best to execute it every Friday night. And these kids have grown up in that. That's their identity. That's who they are.
Yeah, and that's what we believe in. The system that we do. people may think it's complicated. It's not complicated. You know, it's pretty simple. It's if I'm a quarterback, I'd want to play in it every week because there's so many things that you can do. You know, whether you can, you know, where you know, throw the ball vertical down the field or show you quick passes or, you know, screens to the athletes or run the ball. You know, it's just so many things that this offense provides, you know, and there's so many ways to do it, you know. And we've learned through the years, and it's fun, you know. You know, get your kids out and get some athletes out so you can have a lot of fun with it.
Well, great win at Grundy County. I'm really proud of the way you guys executed. Have a good night at Macon County, but keep them all healthy and knock off community in that last one.
That's the goal. Stay healthy.
All right, pal. Gavin Webster, head coach at Watertown, with us as we close out the show here from Cedar City Brewing Company on Lebanon's Public Square. Thanks to everybody who makes this show possible. I'm Tommy Bryan, and I will talk to you later. That's better than having an applause machine.